Good morning. This is it's actually day 7/8. So I didn't shoot tomorrow, but here we are on day 8, morning of. It must be about 10:30 in the morning. So on this video, there's a couple of things we're going to look at. I'm going to look at how I actually got into this situation, a couple of pointers from where I'm up to, and then you're going to see exercise happening. Because yes, today is where I'm going to do some exercise. And it's always a interesting session when you're on your first exercise session after an injury. So we'll work our way through that. So how did this happen? I haven't made any notes. This is going to come off the top of my head from what I have thought about. So you're coming from a position of prehabilitation in a position where your body's in a good position, yet you've managed to injure yourself. So how on earth has that happened? So I'm going to keep this simple. Prior to the injury, it was probably 8 days before the injury, I had some food that my body disagreed with, and it gave me diarrhea. Thanks for sharing. We've all had it, and that was over. The digestive system was a bit compromised for about 4 days. Day one is obviously worse, and we get progressively better. The point of that is my digestive system is on the same reflex loop as my core stabilizer, so my core stabilizing ability would have gone down. Okay, so that's the first point. So now we've already started to compromise the area. I'm then in a position where my car broke, and it had basically I had the inconvenience of the car breaking. Wasn't able to use my car, and it led on to complications, and I knew I was due a hefty bill coming in. So it wasn't like a major stress, but there was as far as I was aware, but there was a stress there. And that it is what it is. It's just it means adjusting. Also, I'm a school teacher. As I said to you, I do a little bit of school teaching before I leave the profession, and I managed to be in a position where we're getting those two things, plus we're returning to school. So you've got, I don't want to say anxiety, but you've got the apprehension of going back to school. And I've been asking myself questions about that journey in and of itself. But then even getting there, how do I get there? I haven't got a car. So these things came in. So there was stress impact on it, any subconscious stress that I was unaware of, plus the digestive issues. So then you have that combination of things going on within the background, plus another scenario, which is a personal matter, as we all have them, which was perceived as stressful. So then we've got this build-up of different stresses from different areas. You've been affected by digestion. I've been affected by the thinking element. There was a little bit of a sleep impact from that as well. So, you can already see I'm knocking out 3 of the 6 main areas. We're in a compromised position. Then what we're doing is we're going into movement, but the movement in my job requires me to demonstrate sometimes complex integrated movements to my clients. So whilst all that's going on, I'm in a position then where I am demonstrating to my clients. But my core isn't able to stabilize the load as it would do because it's compromised. So what does more of the back? What does more of the work? The back has to overdo on the work. It's kind of like training with what we call a naked spine. So nothing went wrong during training, but it was then when I actually got in the car after my final client, got in the car to drive a 30-minute journey, and in the car I could feel my back. I was like, something mid-backy doesn't feel quite right. There was my warning right there, that it was like, add all the dots up. This is, because my body's not designed to go into pain, so why am I getting this irritation? However, the rest of that evening, it was tight, but it didn't deteriorate. That's where the prehabbing comes in. Went to bed that night, got up the next day. I was like, I think I'll be all right. Now I was due to go for a 5K park run. I've just started doing them. And I decided with the person I was going, yes, I'll go to the park run and see how I feel when I'm there. And I was at the park run, I was like, you know what, I'm going to give this a go. But I wasn't going to go hard. I was just going to go for a nice pace, basically run with them. And after the park run was fine. absolutely fine. But then what I did after all that, and that's all in the system, is I sat in a poor postured position in a chair, playing games with playing games on the computer console, with a young lad who will remain nameless, and it was, you know, 3 hours I think of sitting in a position, a shortened position with a family member that I then got up and was like, whoa, we feel quite stiff, and it was that culmination, and then after doing the sport and then sitting in that awkward position, which was actually tensioning the QL muscles at the bottom, that began to open the doorway to the dysfunction. And then over a period of days after that, it literally got to the point where the body went, oh no. And so I had insult to injury. We had to get my car towed by not a stiff arm tow. I had to tow it out with a proper tow like cable, but it gives slack and tension. There was a couple of really big jolts as we were trying to tow my car out up this hill, and I could feel it through my body, and then it just went bang. So you can see how I walked myself into this through a culmination of issues. So when we say, oh, so if I look at that and go, oh, I was sitting in a chair and maybe the tow rope that caused the issue, you've missed everything before it. You've missed all the other things that were contributing factors to it, which is why you need contributing factors to get out. And that gives you a bit of an insight, and that's not 100% accurate, but that gives you an insight into how I arrived at this. Okay, so what else have I been doing? Massage. I have been self-treating, been using a Theragun, and I've been self-treating Theragun carefully around my glute tissue, because I know that the glute medius tissue is something that needs treating for me. I've done very light massage on the actual lower back itself. So what I'm saying to you is finding a good massage therapist, a skilled massage therapist, is definitely be the way forward for you. And you can get treatment. I definitely recommend that the glute tissue gets treated, because that houses a lot of the issues. But general massage around the back, yeah, absolutely, it will be good, but you need to have a therapist skilled enough to be able to know actually your back's not ready for treatment, or yes, it is ready for treatment. So that's what we're doing, stretching, continuing. Interestingly, I got up this morning. Now, how do I know I'm going to train? When I got up this morning, I still had tension in my lower back. I was getting out of bed, I've been laying in bed. And however, the tension wasn't any worse than yesterday. And actually, for the last couple of days, there's been a little bit of tension in there on and off, but it's no worse. It's like in a position where it's like, we're actually getting a little bit better, but it's definitely no worse. And it doesn't feel like a torsion. I can sneeze freely, and it's like, no, that's absolutely fine. There's no bracing pattern, but there is some tension in there. Right there, that is my indication that training is where I'm at. Now, I can feel that within my body. It can be difficult for people to know that within their body. However, I'm about to train. I'm going to do 3 or 4 exercises, because I have been doing the horse stance. Did the horse stance yesterday, which I showed you on day 6 or 5 video. I forget, day 6. So I'm going to go through some of the exercises that I'm going to do. And you're going to witness them firsthand. Do I feel completely loose? No. Have I stretched? Yes, but no, I don't. But we get to a point where it's like, right, we've got to start moving this body. So I'm going to put actually this heater on whilst I'm here. So that is what I've done. An interesting thing to note as well is, because I've been walking around, but I've not done any form of exercise really for over a week now. Because I said prior to ran into it is when my back locked up that I took the videos from. But actually, the run and everything and the things were unsure was actually, so we're probably looking at 10 days, 12 days in total. And one thing I notice, and I can feel it on myself, is I feel atrophy. I feel like I've already started to lose muscle. I feel quite slim, and there's nothing wrong with the slim, but I feel slim and unprotected in that my body doesn't feel as athletic as it was before I did this. I felt there was more mass to my system. So that's fine. That's what happens with the body. If you don't use it, you lose it. And that is what's happened. And it will recover. Don't go, oh, I can start doing weights and I want to just bang them out to really put on a flex. No, we just go through this gradually. So my weight is very, very lightless. So first exercise I am choosing to do, I'm going to do a pull exercise with my body. So I've got a dual cable pull. I'm not going to do a single arm cable pull because a single arm cable pull will mean that there's a rotational force going through my spine, which I do not want. I just want a straightforward pull action. So, helps if the mat isn't in the way. I told you we're going to shoot all these on the fly, but you're going to see it as I would do it. So I'm probably going to look for about 10 to 12 repetitions on this. So my spine, and that's too light a weight. So my spine, I'm going to keep neutral, as you'll observe, in position. I'm in a partial squat position, and I'm isolating, there you go, pulling, isolating the shoulders, but the whole body, because I'm obviously, the weight is trying to pull me forward. That's 5. I can feel tension building, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Coming out. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the clock, 11 minutes. Because I'm going to be specific with this recovery time. I am in stability zone training, but I'm going to give myself 60 seconds of rest. So what do I feel within my body? I can overscan this. Quite, you know, it's like, oh, do I feel pain? No. Interestingly, yeah, I feel a little bit of tension in my right hamstring, but my right hamstring traditionally is the one that goes tighter. And the back, you know, there is a feeling of work in the back, lower back, middle back. Well, there's going to be. I've got no alarms, so as in within my body, so I'm going to go again. Now, after I do the next set, we'll see, and I might be in a position where I'm like, you know what, I could go again. I am not going to. It'll be 2 sets. So there's my 1 minute timer. I'm back up. We've had a little bit of recovery, but not much. Sitting in, neutral spine. 1, 2, 3. Really focusing on my form. I can feel the weight of my body through the midfoot and heel section of my foot. Lost count, I think that's 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's a dual arm cable pull. I'm going to come out of that. No harm in putting another hamstring stretch in. As you can see, I'm quite short. If I reach, I'm quite short of my foot. I should be able to grab my foot at the very least, but that's because of where the body's tensioned up. And again, I'm not going to force this stretch. I'm actually going to hold this position and just bend from here. I don't need to reach down. And remember, it's the hamstrings that can pull the pelvis from underneath us and add tension to the lower back. So I'm now going to go into my next exercise. So I'm going to go into a descended squat. So I'm going to start activating the glutes with this descended squat position. So I'm going to use more 75 centimeters because I'm just under 6'4", so that's appropriate for me. So here we are. This is going to be a hip extension exercise. I'm actually going to go for 65 on this one. 65 feels intuitively better for me. Let's have a look. So, hip extension position, and let's go for some hip extensions. So I'm going down, resting my neck on the wall. 1. My knees stay above my ankles the whole way through this. So I'm driving up from the hips to level. Interesting. 4. So I can feel the glutes fatiguing already. 5, 6, 7, 9. Breathing in as I go down, out on the way up. 10. I'm going for 12. 11. 12. Interesting. When I come up off the wall, by the way, and I sit up and come out, I push the tongue gently to the roof of my mouth. That helps protect my neck. I'm not going to go into why, it just does. How did that exercise feel? My lower back is working. The whole thing's working and I'll maybe change my angle so you can see it better this time on the next one. So I'm timing in between. I said that was 10 past. Yeah, the lower back, I don't feel anything. Feels nice and soft is what I'm expressing, but that's completely the wrong word because there would have been work going on. But I feel no pain, nothing. It just feels like my pec, or it feels like my calf muscle. It just feels like a normal muscle. The glutes, we are in a descended squat plan. The glutes are working, and they found that challenging. I found that really challenging. Feel the fatigue building up. Got no weight in a descended squat position. So right there, we're driving exercise into the glutes, and the glutes. You know, if you think about, did my glutes overwork as a consequence of walking myself into what I did, and then going for the 5K run, which was probably a bad idea. You know, are the glutes in need of restabilizing after that? Probably. Well, we're doing it. So here we go. We can overanalyze sometimes. Bottom line is, the exercise feels good, and there's work going on, but it's not painful work. It's work. Here we go. So I felt like I could do more than 12, so I might edge out a bit here. 1. Bring my neck up just to check that the camera's right. 2. 3. 4. Just up to level. 5. 6. 7. 8. Yeah, fatigue in. 9. 10. 11. 12. We're going for 14. 13. 14. Tongue to roof of the mouth. Now I feel like I could have done more. However, there was a lot of fatigue around the top of the glute med area. So that's fatiguing out, and it's getting to the point where it's going, right, we're really quite fatigued, but I feel I could do more. And this is where people run into the problem. Well, yeah, of course, I could have banged out 50. I could have probably banged out 50. But by the time I got, probably if I'd have carried on going to about 18, that muscle would have then, the part of the muscle, the section that was really fatigued would have been like, guys, we can't keep doing this. And I'd have started over-recruiting from other areas. And it's the over-recruition which is the issue. So if there's, you know, everything else was like, let's keep going. Like the whole rest of my body's like, come on, let's go, let's do more. I've got to listen to it. I've got to listen to what the muscle is saying to me. It's like, no, that's where we are. So now I've got my baseline from where I'm working from, because now I will record this, and the next time I do this, tomorrow, might be later, but it'll probably be tomorrow, I'm going to add a couple of reps to it, unless my body tells me otherwise. I'm certainly not going to add another 10 reps to it, not at this stage. Okay, so next exercise I'm going to do will be the horse stance. So here we go. So I'm just going to stand up, move around. Everything feels good. Yeah, I'm going to go into my tendency. Hamstring again, just nice and easy. Gentle stretch, just a few seconds. On there. And now we're going to go into horse stance. Now I don't have my phone, so I can't know it's 10 seconds, so I'm going to count in my head. And we're going to see how we go. So I'll do a slight angle. Horse stance position. I'm going to get the stick so you can see the technique as well. Yeah. There we are, there's my stick. Let me look at you. Well, I'm in camera shot. Stick's going to move, that's okay. So, I'm going to try for 6 each side, which is 120 seconds of work. That's 2 minutes. So see how we go. I'm sure this is the most boring video in the world right now, but and I'm not going to edit it, we're just going to roll it and put it up. But you're seeing how my body's responding. You can see that I'm holding form. If I lose form, the set is over. You see my hand as I'm doing this, it's still in contact, but there's no weight going through it. And that's what we want. Halfway there. Interestingly, when I'm doing this, this side I'm about to do, so right knee down, left hand down, is more difficult. That's 4-4. Five five. I was going to go for 6-6, but I'm going for 5-5. My intuition has led me to that because whilst I did 5-5 yesterday on it, I hadn't prior to done what I've done. So I'm just going to sit with that. What's the time? Okay. So it would usually be a 30-second rest. I'm going to give myself a 60-second rest here. I'm just going to let the body recover. And I'm going to do another set on this horse stance. You know, I've said I'm just going to put the video up if I do edit this bit, because you know what you're about to see, then well, you'll see that. But I'll probably just roll it through. Anything else I want to tell you at this stage? No. What am I going to do after this? After this, I'm going to shower. And after the shower, I'm going to have some great food. I'm going to give my body the nutrients. So I'm going to get protein in, even though I'm not doing heavy weight lifting and making micro traumas to the muscles to gain muscle. This is not, even with that, I'm going to make sure, even though it's stability training, that I feed my body, fuel my body immediately with the correct nutrients. I'm not going to fuel it with crap. You know, if you want to know what fuel really does for you, do this as a quick test. I'm giving myself more recovery time because I'm going to make this point. Go into Waitrose or somewhere, Sainsbury's, wherever, and go to the counter where they sell the chickens. And there'll be a lovely person behind there, and ask him or her for if you really want to do this test, ask him and her about the chickens. So you got, like, I think it's called rotisserie chicken, and then you got you'll have like a corn-fed chicken. The corn-fed one will be a more expensive chicken. The life and the nutrition of that chicken will be at an advantage to the other one. It's not great, but it is what it is. And if you ask them, what's it like to cut, you know, because sometimes they have a whole chicken carcass and they have to cut it in half because people have half portions or quarter portions. And so I ask them, what's it like to cut the rotisserie one compared to cutting the other one? And they will say to you, oh, it's more difficult to cut into the corn one. And that is true. If I was to hold a rotisserie chicken, just pull its leg, bang, it just pulls apart. But if I were a cooked chicken, but if I was going to have a cooked organic chicken and I pull its leg, it's like, whoa, you have to really like pull it and cut into it to break it open. Reason for that is this: the tendons from the muscles of the chicken on a poor diet without much movement, there's no resistance to it. There's no integrity to the tendons. It's just, and they pull apart after cooking. But after cooking exactly the same time with organic chicken, it's like I can't pull this apart. Why? Because the tendons and muscles are so strong, supporting the joints. Well, if it can affect a chicken to that degree, what's your nutrition doing to your joints? So are your joint integrity with tendons really nice and strong, or are they unfortunately lacking in the nutrients to give them the ability to do the job they can? This is another reason why you are what you eat, and people don't consider this. That was another preachy moment, right? I'm going to go straight, a bit more straight on. Here we go. How does it feel? Yeah, I can feel the right glute needs a little bit works, but that's because it has been. So we're good. And that was way over a 60-second rest, but that's okay. This feels easier. I believe this is 4 on each side. Here comes 5. I really want to do 6. I really want to do 6. But I'm not. I did 5 on the last one, I'm doing 5 on this one. So there we are. I've gone through those 3 exercises. I do have a 4th, but I went from the dual cable pull to the supine hip extension with my back on the ball, which is the descended squat, to the horse stance. I went in that order on purpose because I had the most neurologically advanced exercise first down to the least. We don't go least to the most. That would be completely counterintuitive to the body. I'm going to do one more exercise, which is I'm going to train my lower abdominals now. However, I need to shoot like a whole video of how to do that. It is very technical. I'm using a blood pressure cuff. I'm using gauges. It's going to take 10 to 15 minutes just to go through this video with you. So I'm going to do some lower abdominal training. I will get a video of that. Alternatively, find yourself a Czech practitioner who can start putting all this together for you. And bear in mind, I also do online work with people as well. So there is that option of working directly with me if you reach out. So obviously I can access anywhere on the planet because of modern technology. Anyhow, that's where I'm up to today, guys. It's going to be interesting to see how the body responds from that, but I'm not going to give it too much thought. I'm just going to go about my day. As I say, so there we are. That's where we are on the journey. We're up to the exercise phase. If you're on the exercise phase, weight to light, 3 or 4 exercises, all base conditioning, or very low level exercises. You just saw it, and I'll see you on the next one. Long video, but important. All right, guys, take care.